What is up, you beautiful Wiggler simps? Welcome back for yet another Mario Kart video. The Mario Kart 8 Deluxe Booster Course Pass is almost finished, and we only have 2 more cups left. That is quite crazy to think about, considering I remember making videos about the pack when it first was announced. Now with there only being 1 wave left, it's kinda sad to see the Booster Course Pass videos go away. But anyways, today we are predicting the final wave. Now it definitely was difficult to figure out what tracks could appear in this upcoming wave due to the prefix leak and whatnot, but I think I figured out the most likely selection. But before we do get started with predictions, make sure to hit that subscribe button and notification bell to stay updated on when new videos release on the channel. Without any further ado, let's begin. The first thing I wanted to cover through is the recent data mines found within Wave 5. Specifically the prefix matchup and what appears to be the original layout for some of the courses that were included within the wave. First things first, Wii Muneville Highway, as you may know, was a very controversial choice at first when considering the prefix leak. Originally, lots including myself were a little confused on if the track somehow replaced Wii Rainbow Road. It turns out this was not the case, and the course ended up replacing one of the Nitro spots from the prefix leak. Now some might ask, does that mean that Nitro is coming in another cup? Not exactly. I think it's been essentially confirmed that this Nitro course was either a test map for one of the other Nitros, or it was a Nitro that was cancelled. This is backed up from the Mario Kart Tour data mines as well, so it is most likely just a cancelled Nitro track. Moving on, another notable prefix data mine I found interesting is GCN Daisy Cruiser. Apparently this was the GCN track planned for Wave 4 and was not GCN Mushroom Bridge. I suspect Bridge was most likely planned for Wave 5, but either was scrapped because of Muneville Highway being a similar track, or it was moved to Wave 6. We'll dive back into the GCN topic a bit later. Last thing I wanted to know about the Wave 5 data mines was that Athens Dash, a track that appeared in this wave, was originally intended to be in Wave 6 in the Spiny Cup. I have no idea why Nintendo didn't save this track for that cup, considering how ambitious this track is being a city course. It kind of bothers me a lot, but I'm starting to grow on it a little bit, but not really. Rome Avanti and the Last Unknown City track were actually planned to be in Wave 5, which makes so much sense considering Wave 5 was supposed to have Bangkok Rush as well, and those tracks would have fit perfectly together in this wave. It's honestly disappointing they released both Athens Dash and Vancouver Velocity earlier than anticipated, because I feel like those two would have been perfect for the final 2 city tracks. But then again, we don't know what the final city course will be like just yet, but I've got a feeling it may not be as ambitious as something like Athens Dash. That's basically everything I wanted to discuss about for the Wave 5 prefix data mines. Now let's get on to the actual predictions. The first cup we have up is the Acorn Cup. What will this cup start with? Will it be a banging Wii track? Will it be GCN Luigi Circuit? Or will it be DS Airship Fortune? Okay, I'll stop. I've selected Tor Rome Avanti for the first course of Wave 6. Based off of the real-life Rome city located in Italy, this track is set at a calming nighttime environment with Rome-inspired landmarks scattered around the course. This track, like I mentioned earlier, was supposed to appear on Wave 5, which makes sense considering it's a pretty simple city track. There's an unused third route for the track that hasn't been used in Mario Kart Tour just yet, which looks like it could be a bit difficult to drive on, and there could be some chain chomps running around on the course based off of a warning sign used on the third route, but we'll just have to wait and see. The second track was a bit difficult to predict for this cup. Now personally, I think this will be a GCN course. However, I don't think it'll be DK Mountain, but we'll get to that a bit later. The only 2 GCN tracks I could see going here, and are technically the only possible ones, are Down Down Jungle or Mushroom Bridge. Now what makes this so hard to decide on is for 2 reasons. One, I feel like Down Down Jungle wouldn't come if DK Mountain comes, since they're so similar in almost every way. And 2, I don't know about Mushroom Bridge coming this late into the Booster Course Pass, and with how similar it is to tracks like DS Shroom Ridge and Wii Muneville Highway. However, I really do think there's going to be a few more GCN tracks for Wave 6, so in the end, I chose Mushroom Bridge. While we do now know Daisy Cruiser was originally planned for Wave 4, and Waluigi Stadium was planned for Wave 3, what could have been the planned Wave 5 GCN track? It technically wasn't cancelled as far as we know. The only track, however, that is cancelled is one of the 3 Nitro tracks for Wave 6, since Tor cancelled the development on it. I originally thought Mushroom Bridge was supposed to be the Wave 4 GCN track, but now thinking about it, the track is kinda much more difficult than Daisy Cruiser, so I think it was originally planned for Wave 5, but due to how things went with development, it most likely was moved to Wave 6. Let's get onto what this track has to offer. This course has a ton of vehicles going around in this mushroom-inspired city, with tons of vehicles having special abilities, like the Wiggler Bus, which squirms around like a worm, the Mushroom Car, which spits out mushrooms upon hitting it with an item, and the Bomb Bomb Car, which we've seen on Muneville Highway. The music for this course is one of the best from its era, and I really would love to hear a remix of it in this game. Now at this point in the video, you're probably wondering why I didn't choose DK Mountain for this spot. Just hold on for a bit, alright? Anyways, the third course I've selected here for this cup is SNES Bowser Castle 3. This track was originally planned for Wave 5, but got moved here instead, which would make sense. However, I decided to place it in this cup. I'll talk a bit more about my original thoughts of this placement when we get to the next track. SNES Bowser Castle 3 just recently got an outstanding remake in Mario Kart Tour, and that's very weird to say considering it's an SNES track, but I am not kidding when I say I was very surprised with how much attention to detail they put into this remake. Definitely worth the wait for a remake of a SNES Bowser Castle. This track actually stands out compared to the other Bowser's Castles in the series because of where it takes place. Instead of the typical go inside of Bowser's Castle and end off outside style, they made this specific track all set outside of the castle, which is honestly just so cool. Also, they added some bone piranha plants as we've seen on Bone Dry Dunes, which is a really cool addition. I cannot wait to race on this track in the Booster Course Pass. And yes, I sound very confident on this track just because of the insane remake it received. And if any of you comment something about Vanilla Lake, I will scream my head off. Moving on to the final track of the Acorn Cup, I've selected Piranha Plant Cove as the finale. This is the only Mario Kart Tour Nitro track that has the 3 route style like some of the Mario Kart Tour City tracks, which really makes this one stand out a lot compared to the others. Plus it's set underwater, which is not seen on any of the other Tour Nitro tracks. This track is set in underwater ancient ruins, heavily inspired by piranha plants, more specifically Petey Piranha, which is why I thought a track like this would have come with him in Wave 5, but oh well. Now, as I mentioned earlier, I had a thought about the third slot of this cup having a different track than SNES Bowser Castle 3, being Piranha Plant Pipeline, which is another Mario Kart Tour Nitro track that actually got made recently. And the reason why I thought this specific track could go before Piranha Plant Cove is because of their names. Both are Piranha Plant related courses, although I wish they called Pipeline something like Warpipe Island. I thought it would have been cool for them to be back to each other and kind of feel connected in a way, but it might seem a little unlikely for Nintendo to do, so I just made things more simple and placed these Nitros in separate cups, so we'll come back to Piranha Plant Pipeline a bit later. Now you could question me on why I didn't put Cove into the next cup based on how I made the track sound super ambitious. Well, that's the thing, it's a very ambitious track, which is why I placed it here as the finale. This course in my opinion would benefit more as a final track than before. And that concludes the Acorn Cup. On to the Spiny Cup. The Spiny Cup, in my opinion, could have the best track selection in the entire game if my predictions are correct. So to begin off this cup, we have what appears to be the final city track Mario Kart Tour will most likely receive. Now I feel like Romavanti wouldn't fit this spot as much since it's not that ambitious, but then again we have no idea what this new city could be, and it was planned for Wave 5 as we now know, so it may not be super ambitious. Since we don't know what this city track is or what it will look like, I'm just going to go and say what most others have said and predict it's a Madrid track. Madrid, to those who don't know, is the capital city of Italy, which is really cool. Now people have predicted this track to be a Madrid track because the internal code in Tour's files is called MOB-MD, and people think the MD of that file is abbreviated to Madrid, which could be likely, but remember this is just all pure speculation. To end off this track placement, I'm going to call this track something I don't think anyone else has called, being Madrid Boulevard. On to the second track, and for this spot I predict we'll go to Piranha Plant Pipeline. You can tell that this whole track was heavily inspired by 3DS Piranha Plant Slide, and it shows. You can even call it a sequel technically. This track is very interesting with its design and layout. You first start outside from the pipe and then you go into it. At the beginning, you're greeted with many half pipes you can trick off of and some of the scenery of the sewers, which is very satisfying. You are then greeted with a choice to glide into a blue or red pipe, both having different obstacles, so pick wisely. The blue pipe will lead you to piranha plants and webs blocking your path, and the red pipe brings you down this water slide with a tricky maneuvering pipe that shakes. In the final stretch of the track, there's fuzzies that act as obstacles in your path and tons of jumps before being greeted to freedom out of the sewers. This track really surprised me when first playing it in Mario Kart Tour, and I cannot wait to play this track in Wave 6. Also, to clear things up a little before ending the talk on this track, I placed it here instead of the semi-finale to the cup just because I don't feel like it fits super well as that position, especially with a more ambitious fan favorite track I placed there instead. For the third track, I've selected GCN DK Mountain. Now y'all probably can understand why I chose this here for the semi-finale of the cup instead of the second spot over Piranha Plant Pipeline, because there's a ton of ambition being presented here. Starting from going up a mountain, to gliding to a volcano, and then traversing through rocky terrain while avoiding boulders and tricking off half pipes, and then traversing through curvy tight corners with a shaky bridge in the final section, you cannot tell me this whole track is just so ambitious and fun sounding. DK Mountain is personally my favorite Mario Kart Double Dash track, and with its amazing remake in Mario Kart Tour, I don't see why they wouldn't add this in Wave 6. Now you could argue that Dino Dino Jungle might go here, but I think DK Mountain is more fit for this game than Dino Dino. You're probably thinking that's my nostalgia talking, but it's sorta not. The physics for the track would fit so well with Mario Kart 8's physics, I really don't see them not adding this track. And with that, we're on to the final track. Y'all already know what it's going here. We Dry Dry Ruins is clearly the final track. We Are in Road is simply put my most favorite track in the entire franchise. The majestic and nostalgic feelings I get for this course is unbelievable. An insane drop to a boost panel, too many half pipes to trick off of with wavy roads, to the glorious starry atmosphere, to the scary finale turns. You cannot go wrong with this Rainbow Road. It is known to many as the hardest track in the entire series, making it an amazing finish for the Spiny Cup and also the Booster Course Pass as a whole. I honestly don't see why they wouldn't choose this for the final track of the Booster Course Pass, especially after figuring out Moonville Highway replaced a placeholder nitro track and not this Wii spot. Now it is time for the final section of this prediction video, the new characters. To most people, they would think it would be Pauline and Diddy Kong, but what if I told you I'm against that? Yup, I am crazy as per usual. I do think Diddy Kong is for sure coming because he's such a fan favorite. However, when it comes to Pauline, I am not so sure. Yes, I know she's been in a ton of Mario games lately, but what if Nintendo does a curveball for the final characters just like how Wiggler was a big surprise for Wave 5? Now that leads to the question on what I chose for the final character spot, and y'all will be surprised. But I think Luma could go here. Yup, I have truly gone insane, I know. Ryder is a dumbass and doesn't know what he's saying. Yes, I can see the comments. I'm not that blind, you know, I just choose to ignore you. Let me cook on this one, okay? Luma I feel like would be an interesting type of character to add and would bring a lot of people to shock just like Wiggler. Lots of people got so confused and pissed when first seeing Wiggler being added because he's not a super popular character, but it seems to me everyone is really loving his surprising addition. Now I'm not fully saying Pauline is out of the realm of possibility, but I feel like we shouldn't go and expect Diddy and Pauline to be essentially confirmed, because that's probably not the case. I just personally feel like Luma would be a nice and interesting curveball, plus she would reflect nicely with We Are in Road. Also, at the time of this video, Luma is suspected to be potentially coming to Mario Kart Tour in the near future based off of a badge theory, but other than that, we don't really have any other evidence for her debut. But I hope she comes to Mario Kart Tour, and I kinda hope she shows up in Wave 6 as well. And with that, there's all of my Wave 6 predictions. Let me know down below your thoughts on my predictions, and what your predictions are for the wave. Also, feel free to give this video a like if you enjoyed it. Big thanks to the members of the channel, you guys are amazing and awesome. If you'd like to become a member, feel free to click the join button below, or use the link within the description. As a send-off message for this video, I'm very excited for Wave 6, and I could see it potentially being the best in terms of tracks. However, I'm also scared since it's the final wave, and there's not much more to cover on the Booster Course Pass, which has made me very sad, but it was inevitable. I just wanted to say, thank you all so much for sticking with me until the end of this journey. I've had so much fun making these videos for the past year and a half, and I'm just so glad everyone has liked the content. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Peace out, stay safe, and goodbye.